What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. Throughout the history of League of Legends, there's been loads of buffs and nerfs to take place across hundreds of patches. And every now and then, it's always fun to take a look back at what used to be. Let's get started. As we go through the top 5 biggest nerfs in League of Legends history, keep in mind a few things. First, that we are only looking at patches that took place from Season 1 onwards. Next, that we are measuring the nerfs by how impactful the nerf was to the champion, as well as how long it took for them to recover from the complete obliteration of their kit. For example, although removing the silence from LeBlanc's kit was considered to be a humongous nerf, she's still quite powerful after the nerf, and so overall it wasn't that impactful, and thus didn't make the list. And we're also only looking at nerfs that took place within one specific patch only. Loads of champions were heavily nerfed slowly over time over the course of multiple patches, but those just aren't as exciting to look at, so we won't be using those. And let's jump right into it. With number 5, we have Rengar from patch 4.5. Riot took the wildly overpowered cat and neutered it in places that we didn't even think was possible. This supposed Rengar rework introduced massive counterplay to his kit, all while nerfing his damage, utility, and tankiness. His win rate dropped by about 5 to 6% after this patch, and Riot immediately buffed him in the next patch, back to being our overpowered feline friend. For number 4, we have Diana in patch 1.0.0.153. Every single one of Diana's abilities was absolutely destroyed by this patch, leading to one of the weakest champions in history. Diana's nerf in this patch resulted in the biggest win rate drop of all time. It was said to be so bad that at the time you could put two Dianas against each other and somehow they would both find a way to lose, leading to a negative win rate overall. But really, her win rate dropped by around 12% after this patch, and although she was immediately buffed within the next patch, she never fully recovered to her old completely overpowered state. For number 3, we have Urgot in patch 1.0.0.143. Team Marn once stated during the very first LCS qualifiers, "I don't think this composition is beatable," when referring to the Taric Urgot bot lane, and they used that combination to carry their way into the LCS. Well, Riot turned Urgot from unbeatable to beatable to flat out unwinnable with, all in the span of 100 megabytes. Nerfs to his range, damage ratios, and cooldowns completely gutted everything that made Urgot strong in the game. Instead of adding counterplay or hurting his weaknesses, his strengths were absolutely destroyed, and Riot left us with this mess of a champion that has still yet to recover after 2.5 years. He could have easily been number 1 on this list if it wasn't for the fact that a small part of the nerfs that hurt him so much was on a previous patch. And taking home the silver medal, we have Olaf on patch 3.01. This is probably the top of most people's lists for the biggest nerf of all time, and it's no secret that it was absolutely massive. This nerf was so bad that you can literally pinpoint the exact day and time when Olaf mains installed Dota 2. Although the nerf may have seemed a bit small on paper, nerfing his crowd control, damage, and cooldowns resulted in one of the biggest drops in power League has ever seen, eventually coining the term Olafing for when Riot overnerfs a champion. His win rate dropped by about 6 to 7%, and he was not helped when Riot tried to slightly rework his kit in patch 3.12. He's finally starting to recover a bit now, but not after a few buffs and some more favorable changes to the jungle. And just before we take a look at our gold medalist, let's go over my honorable mention, which was Zilean's nerf in patch 4.19. This nerf didn't make the top 5 mainly due to the fact that it didn't completely destroy his kit like the other nerfs, but rather the removal of his global passive took a big giant dump all over Zilean's utility. By making his passive have a range of only 1500 instead of global, Zilean's win rate dropped by about 9% after what seemed to be a reasonably sized but still not a major nerf. Looks like his time in the spotlight is over. Sorry Zilean, but I'll see you in 6 months when Riot decides to buff you again. And lastly, bringing home the gold medal for the biggest nerf of all time was Evelynn in patch 1.0.0.120. You guys want to hear a joke? Evelynn in 2011. The Widowmaker became the classic case where Riot learned to never nerf a champion because of solo queue. A champion that wasn't even played in the competitive level was absolutely gutted, with nerfs to her sustain, attack speed, and most importantly, the removal of her stun, all because some vocal players couldn't be bothered to buy pink wards. After this nerf, Evelynn became the weakest champion in the game by far, which lasted for an entire year before they were able to rework her. Evelynn's nerf was honestly so bad that there were countless reports of players being banned simply because they were Evelynn mains. Pre-rework Evelynn defined what it means to be a troll pick, and non-toxic players experienced the worst when all it took was for them to play their favorite champion to literally get banned from the game due to the amount of reports they would receive since Evelynn was just so incredibly weak. And that just about wraps up my list. I really enjoy these kinds of top 5 videos, so I hope you had as much fun watching this as I did making it. If you want to see more of this kind of stuff, definitely hit that like button, and I can bring another one to you next week. My name is Jeremy, and that's it for my video on the top 5 biggest nerfs of all time in League of Legends history. Be sure to check me out over at twitch.tv/Jeremy_GamingCurios, stay connected at facebook.com/GamingCurios, tweet me at GamingCurios, drop a like, share this video, and make sure to subscribe for some more awesome content in the future. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.